Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Where it's kind of literally right at noon. Did we call it afternoon? Do we call it morning still? Could be evening where you're watching from. I don't know. But in any case, welcome back to the channel. This is Unitedverse, everybody. I am your host, Sean. We are back. We've got a match preview to talk about as United travel to face Brentford at the G-Tech Community Stadium. And Ruben Amorim hopes to maybe finally get two on the bounce. That he has yet to do that in the league since taking over as United manager. This could be the time. Oh, please, Lord, let it do. Anyways, we're talking tactics. We're talking team news. We're talking score predictions. I want your starting 11s, all of that. Plus, we are talking the latest and greatest United news and rumors. And as promised, I am doing a quick rundown of what our youngsters are up to who are currently out on loan. We've got quite a few youngsters out on loan. We're kind of tiptoeing in Chelsea territory here, but a lot of youngsters out on loan. Some of them doing well, some of them not really playing at all. But I will give you a quick rundown on all that as well. Somebody asked the other day in the live stream, thought, why not make a little time and do that for you guys? So that's what we're doing. So let's get stuck in. I don't want to waste too much time because it is going to be a pretty long one today. I want your thoughts on many, many things. Get involved in the poll too, because we're going to touch upon something that Christian Eriksen had to say as well that has to do with that poll I put out. But I want to know your thoughts on the poll, as far as ex-United players, their criticism, some of the negativity. Is it a problem? Is it causing problems? Should it, if you're a top player, should that kind of stuff bother you? Should it not? I want to know your thoughts. So let's like the video, please, for me. Let's subscribe to the channel if you are new. Please share the stream, too, if you guys have any socials. I would love to see the community grow even further. We are on the road to 3K. I'd love to get there before the January break, if that does tell you anything about where we're trying to go here. Check those memberships, too, please, you guys. It is the best way to get involved in the content we put out. It isn't just emojis and badges, although those are fun, too, right? But it is a good way to get you involved, whether it's scouting report suggestions or what if episode ideas. Legends members can get involved in the kickabout. Remember, there was no kickabout this week because we did it on Sunday instead. So that'll hopefully be back next week. But it's always a pleasure having Dylan. And Dylan's got a life too, though. So I don't want to ever feel like anyone's obligated, and especially don't want anybody taking time to do this. That takes time from other important things now. So always appreciative that this is pretty much Dylan's channel now too, though, if you guys haven't been able to tell. I know he's plotting on me. I know he is. I see you, Dylan. So let's dive right in, you guys. Oh, man, don't forget to go check out the Unitedverse Everybody online store as well. Always fun stuff. There is a link in the video description to go there too. So let's dive right in. Let me get involved in the chat, see who's here today. Lucky's in the house. How are you doing, man? Yep, Lecha, Fit, Xerxes might be used, Mount, Cunha, Cobby. It's going to be interesting. It's an interesting situation. We've got a couple of fresh injuries to worry about. Or I guess not a couple of injuries. Got one injury, one other person who's going to be missing, so that might shake things up a bit. And then we got a player coming back, as Amorim told us this morning in his presser. We'll touch upon all that as well. Hope you're doing well, though. Lucky, good to see you again. Rob Taff in the house. Big up, Rob. Good to see you again. Appreciative of all your sharing of the streams and everything on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. Does anyone call it X, or do we all just still call it Twitter? I don't know. It was already X when I joined for the channel, but I still call it Twitter. I don't know. You know what I mean, though. Big up. Yes, please hit those like and subscribe buttons as we jump along here. So, big up, and we'll start with the loans first. Big up Harry Amos for getting himself into the championship team of the week recently, doing pretty well over there at Sheffield Wednesday. He was man of the match against Portsmouth as well. To his credit, as well in that match, his 1v1s were on point, 2 out of 2 dribbles, 8 out of 11 duels, 5 interceptions in that match. He was absolute a star against Portsmouth and obviously rightly earned a spot in the championship team of the week. So big up Harry Amos. That was the big news. How are the other youngsters doing on loan so far? So Eli Harrison, he is at Shrewsbury Town, where he is now second for saves per 90 in the league. So doing very, very well at Shrewsbury Town. You remember he went out on loan this past summer as well after featuring in the matchday squad once or twice last season. So big up Eli Harrison for doing his thing. We all know Radik Vitek is balling out at Bristol City. He had a man of the match performance against Charlton. He was in the team of the week after his debut on loan this season as well. He's currently 5th for the league for best save percentage, and he is 6th for save per 90s. You guys know how much we love Vitek on this channel. We talk about him all the time. Absolutely balling out. He looks a solid keeper. It's always going to be important to make sure you get minutes, and he is their first choice. So big up Radek Vitek. Ethan Ennis. He is at Fleetwood Town this season. Scored on his debut for them in an EFL trophy match. Dylan and I will actually get to go check him out live when we were there in December, because we've got Newcastle versus United at Old Trafford. We've got Wolves versus United at Old Trafford. And smack dab in the middle of that, Dylan and I are shooting over to Salford because Salford hosts Fleetwood Town as well. So we will get to see how Ethan Ennis looks in person. So big up. Maybe I'll get to go take a photo. I don't know. Probably not. They don't really let you do that kind of stuff. Joe Hugel, he is at Barnet. Struggling a bit for goals. I think we can all pretty much assume that Joe Hugel is probably not going to be part of the United squad in the future. I think he's 21 now. I think his contract is up this summer anyway. And really what he needed was just a loan to kickstart his career. He's been out on loan last several years, really consistently. Hasn't really done anything in United's first team, really. So this is just an opportunity for him to get some minutes in the shop window, basically. Try to build on some form here, and maybe somebody will take a punt on him in the future. We'll see how that goes. But good luck to him, man. Who we got here? Louis Jackson. He is at Solihull Moors, which is interesting because there's actually a player that used to play for Detroit City FC, Will Mellows Blair, who went to Solihull Moors from Detroit City FC. This was probably about 10 years ago. Don't think he plays anymore, but that's how I'm a little bit familiar with Solihull Moors, because I followed Mellows Blair when he moved there. But Louis Jackson, they're on loan right now. Limited minutes. He did play a full 90 against Burnley's Academy in a National League Cup tie, and he did have a great performance. Passes into the final third were solid. Long balls were solid. One-on-one tackles, one-on-one ground duels. Really good for the youngster. Again, it's all about getting minutes for these guys. So you take your opportunity, even while you're on loan. Who knows? You could earn yourself a spot in that starting 11. So big up Louis Jackson there. He had a birthday, I think, not that long ago either. So big up. Ethan Williams, not really getting a ton of minutes at Falkirk right now, but he did just grab 2 assists against Hibs. I think it was day before yesterday. And so it could change. All it takes is just grabbing hold of these opportunities when they come along and taking full advantage of them. So big up Ethan Williams. Let me get involved in the chat, see who's in here real quick. Rob says some of these players like Hugel just seem to be on loan. His contract's up, in the summer, Rob. So he'll probably be gone. Big up, Box. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're having a good Friday. How's everybody's Friday going? I feel exhausted already. I've been up. I didn't get up like super early, just 5, which is normal for me. Worked out and whatnot, but did a little breakfast date with the wife, came home, and then just caught up on the presser and everything, and then obviously did this. But I just feel tired. Maybe I think it's just allergies. They're always killing me. You guys know I got bad allergies. So Bach says Amos and Vitek are the best hopes for the future. Yeah, let's hope so. Amos needs to bulk up for sure. He had a really good match recently, but he needs to bulk up, in my opinion. He's getting bullied. He was getting bullied at the academy levels, but it's good to see him kind of just getting some minutes under his belt. Ethan Williams, like I said, 2 assists against Hibs. We'll see if he starts getting more minutes, because his minutes have been pretty limited. Sonny Al-Joffrey, who you guys might not be familiar with, he's at Notts County, where he is actually getting a decent amount of minutes in League 2. And he actually got a goal against other academy loanee Eli Harrison back in August. So I think a lot of people are not familiar with Sonny Al-Joffrey, just because he's not a name you hear a lot, but he's out there, he's getting minutes, he's doing pretty well, he's a defender. So, and then same with, just Jack Morehouse. So Jack Morehouse is actually getting a ton of minutes on loan at Leyton Orient. He did score in a cup tie against Peterborough earlier this month as well. So you guys remember Jack Morehouse was a big name in and around the academy last season. It was a big, important move. I think he could be one we could definitely, hopefully see. He's got a bit of that Dan Gore vibe where he was in and around, and then he was on loan, and then you kind of leave sight. We'll see what happens, but he's getting minutes, and that's most important right now. Same with Habib Oganai. He's at Newport County this season. He is getting minutes. He did score against MK Dons last month as well. So again, these guys need to get those minutes, and it sounds like some of them are really benefiting from that. A couple goals here and there, a couple man of the match performances here and there, and like I said, Harry Amos Championship Team of the Week recently. And then you've got Enzo Kanabayek, who was on loan at Lausanne Sport, another club that Ineos own in the Swiss League, I believe. He's getting some minutes here and there. He got a start recently as well. Bit of a slow start. I think he was injured for a hot second too, so that's probably going to impact that as well. But so a lot of youngsters out there right now getting minutes. I like to see that. I like to see the youngsters just taking advantage of that loan system. Johnny Evans is in charge of loans right now, making sure these players are getting the minutes, going to clubs where they're going to get minutes, and that's, again, most important. As far as first teamers go, Ethan Wheatley, he's getting a lot of minutes. He's on loan at Northampton Town. Just the one goal so far, which was against Exeter like a month ago. So he's getting minutes. He's really got to start getting some goals. Again, I don't watch Northampton Town, but what I remember seeing from Wheatley when he was in the first team here and there and in the academy, he fights, he gets into good positions. His finishing does let him down now and then, though. Just it's very inconsistent. So with a lot of minutes, only one goal, I mean, let's hope he does well. Dan Gore, who I mentioned just a few moments ago, doing very, very well on loan at Rotherham United. He had the most dribbles in the match against Wimbledon. He also created two chances in that match and won 7 out of 8 of his ground duels. So he's doing very, very well. We all had really high hopes for him, especially under Ten Hag. Remember, he got injured in that preseason match. Toby Collier, mainly being used as a sub while he's at West Brom. I think West Brom played today, so if you guys want to watch that this afternoon, remember Isaac Price, another player we scouted, it plays for West Brom, so we get a little bit of a twofer. As far as Collier is concerned, I don't really see a future for him at United. I just doesn't really feel like he's only had like maybe half a dozen appearances for the first team last season. He was in and out with injury. To his credit, he looked good when I watched him play. His positioning is good. He's got intensity. He gets stuck in. Like, I love everything he brings. It just doesn't seem to be a space for him. So probably going to be shop window for him. But he didn't really come through the academy. He's older than a lot of people realize. He's 21, 22. I'm not saying he's ancient, but he's not really an academy, if that makes sense. But he did play for the academy, so I guess it counts. But really, like I said, the important thing is for these guys to get minutes, basically. Not only for their own development, but for United to get a chance to see what they're about, how they fare against, grown men. Some of these guys, how they fare against Premier League level opposition if you're playing in the Championship, like Vitek, like Collier, like Amos. It's important. And so remember, again, Johnny Evans took charge of the loans. He's a loan manager. So after he retired at the end of last season. So it sounds like we're getting some good moves for these guys. But let's see, box things at Collier and Harrison could be getting a few. Harrison, Amos, Vitek, I mean, you never know. Collier, I still am kind of not quite convinced. Not necessarily that I'm not convinced about him, just from the way we sparingly used him and just how he's never really been spoken about, never really been in favor with managers. It just doesn't really seem like he's going to have a future here, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens. Rob had some cooked sausages and eggs, cleaned a bit, played a ton of Age of Empires. Well, FC 26 came out today. I'm probably going to swing by and pick that up after I'm done here. Got to go pick up a few more ingredients to make a little light dinner. Just a light dinner tonight. I don't always do a heavy dinner. Sometimes it's like a couple. Like tonight, I'm going to make a couple little bruschettas. I got this butter bean kind of dish that I'm looking on, and then I'm going to make like a simple like arugula salad with some beet and carrot and squash kind of baked on it and with some goat cheese. So a little bit of light eating, probably cook up some popcorn for dinner. I don't use microwave popcorn either. I cook it over the stovetop because I just don't like microwave popcorn. But pretty light meal tonight after a heavy breakfast out in downtown Plymouth, which is not too far from here. Had myself a nice big protein heavy breakfast, egg whites, avocado, turkey sausage or turkey bacon, all that stuff. So, but let me know what you guys are getting up to on a Friday. So hopefully not staying up too late because it is early kickoff tomorrow. But that is a bit of a rundown on some of the youngsters for right now. Big up, Stephanie. Good to see you again. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Let me know how your Friday is going already. It's Rob. Rob is the SoFIFA scout. I do use SoFIFA sometimes to look at stats and things, but yeah, it's a very helpful website. But I'm looking forward to getting it, looking forward to playing. I might have figured out a way to live stream Xbox. So if there's a chance I can do that and figure it out consistently, there is a chance that I could maybe live stream like a United career mode and stuff. if that's something you guys would ever be interested in joining. I've never like, it's just if you guys are interested, that's cool. Be warned though, when I do a manager career, it's pretty boring and pretty immersive. I go heavy on the academy, and I don't just sign big name stars and stuff. And I play the way that the managers play. I play the way that I sign players that the manager wants and stuff for each type of manager I have. So can get pretty boring, but you guys, I play all the academy tournament games too, if you guys ever want to watch that. So that is a cool little feature they added last year, is you get little academy 5-a-sides for your youngsters too. So on the academy though, big up the under-21s for their dramatic comeback win against Athletic Club Bilbao in the Premier League International Cup. A crazy late winner. They went down 1-0 the first half. Scanlon equalized in the second half from an assist from Gabriel Biancheri. Really, it was the substitutes that did that. 4 subs were brought on second half because we were not great the first half. And the subs really made that impact. Again, Biancheri provided the assist for Scanlon to get that equalizer. And then Biancheri was Johnny on the spot in the box. Literally like late stoppage time. Poke home a winner, man. It was excellent. We won a free kick. Ibrahimov up to the line. I think it was Fletcher who then put it to Scanlon. Scanlon took it to the byline, put it across. Biancheri just basically poked it home from the penalty spot to the winner in stoppage time at Old Trafford in front of the crowd. Like, he'll remember that forever, Biancheri. That's an excellent moment, man. So I'm happy for the youngster. You guys know I love Gabriel Biancheri. I think he's definitely in need of a loan. I would love for him maybe to go on a loan in January somewhere down in like League 2, League 1 or something. I think he's definitely ready. He's 18, 19 or something now. So, but shout outs also to Thwaites, Jack Fletcher, and game changer Ibrahimov. He absolutely changed the game when he came on, which he normally does when he comes on. Jason Wilcox was in attendance as well with our new academy director Torpe. It's always a question, when will some of these youngsters maybe get into the first team? And honestly, God, it's probably going to have to wait until the first team environment is a little bit more consistent, till there's not so much negativity, so much instability. We want to have a good environment for them to thrive on. I think Amorim has said something like that in the past as well. You don't want them to come in amidst the chaos. To me, it's never about will they come in against hard opposition. It's just, you can't have the youngster come in and almost be like the only positive kind of newsworthy piece of information in that right now, if that makes sense. Like, everything is shit almost right now. We don't want that environment for the kids. So it's just negative, chaotic. Fan opinion can turn on a dime. So it's probably best to keep some of the youngsters out of that whole situation for a hot second. So let me jump in here and see what we got going on here. Rob that's 1 vote for a watch along. I don't throw the controller, dude. Controllers are expensive as shit. Controllers are about expensive as the games now. So I would have to if Nerf started making controllers, I might get one and throw it. But until then, not going to happen. If you guys remember what Nerf is, it's just, we used to play Nerf stuff when I was younger. But I did throw a controller once, probably about 25 years ago, sitting on the couch playing a game, threw it so hard at the ground right next to me that it bounced and put a dent in the ceiling. That was in my youth, though, when I was young and fiery and full of piss and vinegar. But I don't do that anymore because now I have to pay for the shit myself. So I ain't going to be like, crack, now I got to run to the store and drop 70 on that freaking Series X controller. Not going to happen. Rob always sends his U-Scout to Wales. Yeah. I send 3 scouts out. I stagger them, and I go 3 months at a time, and I'll usually go through all sorts of countries. Usually, it's funny, Wales and Ireland is where I scout for keepers for some reason. It's just like, I don't know why. There's no reason for it. It's just always seems to be me scouting for keepers in those countries. But let's see how it goes. You guys are funny. Good man. You guys are funny. So let's do a little transfer talk, shall we? You guys keep in mind that we are doing a big show right now. We're doing transfer talk. We just give a rundown on the loanees right now. We got a little bit more topics to get involved in that poll too. We're going to head there next after the transfer news, and we haven't even touched upon the Brentford match yet. So big show, but like the video, please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Transfer talk. So we know that United need midfielder. I would argue we need 2 midfielders personally, but word is maybe we're looking for one. Now, one name that's repeatedly been linked to us, and that's paper talk. You never know, but that's Adam Wharton. You guys know I love Adam Wharton. I think he's probably the closest thing I've seen to a Michael Carrick in a long time. He's more of like a modern Michael Carrick. Like if Michael Carrick played now the way football's played, that's who Adam Wharton reminds me of. Now, Ben Jacobs reported yesterday that Wharton and Crystal Palace, though, they have a gentleman's agreement. I thought we were done with this shit, honestly. But apparently they have a gentleman's agreement that allows him to leave in the summer if a good fee comes in. I don't understand. I mean, that to me just sounds like transfers. If we get a good fee, you can leave. It doesn't really need to be an issue. But I mean, apparently that's needed. I just don't know if gentlemen's agreements, handshake agreements, whatever that shit, I don't know if that really means anything, honestly. We saw all this shit happen all summer with these gentlemen's agreements from all over the place. Gyökeres, who else was it that had some sort of a gentleman's agreement that just didn't end up happening? Like, get it in writing. Like, seriously, get it in writing. But so yeah, Adam Wharton, Palace apparently have an agreement. I feel for Palace. I feel for Glasner, man. He's lost a lot of his best players. He almost lost Gahey as well. Even after losing Eze, he lost Elise. So if they lost Wharton and he lost Gahey, like, Glasner's got to be gone. And it sounds like he might. I can't remember where I read this a couple weeks back. I can't even remember now if it's true or not. But I thought I saw something that Glasner, this is going to be his last season at Palace. Let me know if I'm wrong for that one. But we will see. If they lose more players, you think he's going to have to jump ship apparently, because then, like, where's the ambition of the club at that point? Like, it's just, what's the point? It's like Brighton, it's like Bournemouth. Like, what's the point if you're not going to actually try to hold on to your best players, try to, like, do something, right? He won you the FA Cup. You wouldn't know that because they weren't allowed to play in Europe. But Adam Wharton, though, I think would be an excellent signing for us. I think he comes in and he's like immediately like that Bruno or Fernandes replacement in terms of what Bruno's role is in an Amorim system, if that makes sense. He's not a like Bruno where he's going to play these magical long balls kind of thing. He is that deep line kind of holding, tempo setting, ball playing, like almost like a Hayden Hackney kind of a signing in that deeper role. And if he's got a gentleman's agreement, I mean, where else would Adam Wharton even go? Like, if he was to stay in the Premier League, you have to think maybe he's going to stay in England, right? Where would he go? Liverpool have a ton of midfielders. They're playing one of them at right back even after signing Jeremy Frimpong. So it is what it is. Arsenal bought 1,000 midfielders. Chelsea have Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Romeo Lavia. I don't know if they're going to go get Wharton. He's not going to play. City, maybe, but only if Rodri leaves, because he's not coming in and out, like not playing instead of Rodri. They have Nunez, they've got Gonzalez, and they've got Reinders too. He's not going to come in and play ahead. So United, he would literally come in the summer, walk right in as Bruno kind of walks out to the Saudi League maybe. So I think, to me, that seems like a perfect fit in my opinion. So Danny's in the house. Big up, Danny. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. You missed out on the loan watch. You have to watch it back later. But we just kind of did a rundown of all the youngsters out on loan and what they're up to and stuff. So we're just going over a little transfer talk at the moment, man. Big up. Hopefully you're doing good job at work today, man. Making everybody proud. So, but yeah, Adam Wharton, apparently handshake agreement. We'll see what that looks like. Speaking of midfielders, Graham Bailey claims that we are among a number of clubs interested in 16-year-old Mexican midfielder Gilberto Mora. You remember, we actually scouted Gilberto Mora a couple months back, if you guys remember that video. Young 16-year-old midfielder is balling out this year for Tijuana. I'm just saying, United, I'm right here if you guys need a scout or a new director of football. I'll come in and be an apprentice director of football. I don't care, man, because all these players that I'm freaking scouting, you guys are freaking linked to as well. So I'm just saying, I'm right here. Consider this video my CV. Again, Mora is currently playing in Liga MX with Tijuana. Other big clubs, the usual suspects, have all been linked as well. But apparently Inter Miami are really, really pushing for this kid. Go watch him when the Under-20 World Cup goes on this summer. Go check him out. He did really well for Mexico recently in a championship as well. So go check that out, you guys. Danny's been following the kids. I'm going to have you come in and just give me an update on the youngsters sometime, Danny. Hit me up, man. We'll make it happen. We'll make you a part of the channel too, dude. So Gilberto Mora, newest little youngster linked to us. Sticking with youngsters, it's been reported this week by journalist Pipe Sierra that United now, and it's been picked up by a lot of big outlets now. I think The Athletic and a couple other sources have also picked up. But apparently we have an agreement to sign 17-year-old midfielder Christian Orozco. He currently plays for Fortaleza. They are a Brazilian club playing in Serie A. But he is a young defensive midfielder. Apparently, he's an absolute beast, too. He is very highly rated. He's Colombian. But he's very highly rated holding midfielder. He's got an excellent first touch, really good drop of the shoulder to beat that first press and create space and find a teammate, which shows composure, which shows maturity. If you ever watch him play, he's very mature. And he's a leader. He is the captain of Colombian's under-17 international team as well. So I like what I've seen from this kid a lot. He wins the ball. He plays the smart pass. He doesn't ever look rushed. He doesn't ever look stressed. He doesn't try to force anything fancy. He just keeps things simple. Now, he can't do anything yet. He will travel to finalize this transfer in the summer when he turns 18, similar to what we saw from Diego Leon. Kind of feels like maybe we learned our lesson a little bit after we missed out on young Caicedo, after we missed out on Baleba, after we missed out on such and such and such and such and such and such. Kind of sounds like we are learning our lesson. And Christopher Vivell is cooking. He is straight up cooking right now. And so just, it's the Lord's work you're doing out here, Chris, man. Big up. But I like what I see. I like what I see from us signing these youngsters. There were also some rumors recently that we were set to sign a youngster named Mohamed Dabo. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. A lot of journos have rubbished those reports already. And so I've seen some places, the places where I've seen that are not super reliable. And like I said, a lot of the other journalists have rubbished it. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I don't think that so far it doesn't really look like anything. And then the only other transfer news I saw was a claim from Ben Jacobs that Ruben Amorim wants a wingback, but apparently United don't really see a wingback as a priority right now, which, again, it's a rumor, so we never know. It's coming from Ben Jacobs, a big source. Now, some people have mixed opinions on Ben Jacobs, but if true, let's say for a hot second this is true, is it concerning that Amorim sees we need strengthening for really a key position in his system? It's a position we never really played with before, and it's a position he's known for. He sees that as a need, but maybe the club doesn't. Is that a bit of a concern for you? Can we, you let me know if are wingbacks a priority for you right now? I do think we need a proper right wingback. I did a scouting report special the other day, breaking down one that I really like. We've covered a few of them in the past. I've got more on deck as well if anyone's interested on that, but I do think maybe eventually in the summer we probably will need to reassess the left side too, because I don't know what Shaw's doing. I don't think Amos will be ready. Diego Leon's definitely not ready. If you guys watch him play in the academy, Dorgu is our only shot there. So you could argue that we need two. I don't know. Big up, Lyle. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Big up, man. Yes. But yeah, if Amorim says he wants a wingback, the club maybe don't see as a priority. What does that mean right now? Who's kind of deciding these things, and does that mean that Amorim is not getting what he needs? It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen a United manager not really get the players that they want. So we were linked to a couple in the last year with Giovanni Quenda, Roger Fernandez as well. Didn't really end up getting them. So it's interesting to see that dynamic play out. Remember, under this new regime, managers aren't really doing the Ten Hag thing where they decide everything and they get all these players to switch over to their agency and whatnot. No, Amorim is head coach. Ineos are doing kind of what Liverpool did. This is how we want to play as a club. These are the kind of players we want, the identity, the intangibles, the intensity, the work rate, all that. Amorim represents something that we think a manager can come in and kind of be a part of that, like Jurgen Klopp was at Liverpool. And so it's interesting stuff. Hopefully it doesn't mean that people are too far apart when it comes to, building and recruitment, but it would be interesting if true, like I said. So we'll see how it goes. Dial says, just dropping by. Yes, please do give us a view and a like. Make sure you like, and all the best. Yeah, it is an early kickoff tomorrow. So let me know what you think about wingbacks. Let me know what you think about some of those youngsters that we've been linked to and the one that we've signed. If you guys are familiar with any of them, go back and try to dig out that Gilberto Mora scouting report video. If I can find it, I'll put a link to it if you guys want to learn more. I can't remember which one it was, though. I'll have to look at my search history on Google and see when I looked him up and looked up all the stats and stuff, because that'll tell me around what time that video was. So, but if you know any more about those guys, Orozco, Mora, Mohamed Dabo, let me know. Let's jump into a little bit of news that has to do with this poll that I have going on in the chat. So what do you make from these comments from Christian Eriksen, aka Dylan, on on some of the criticism and some of the negativity, I guess, that comes from ex-United players regarding our current squad. This is what Eriksen had to say. He said he was speaking to ESPN, and he said, obviously, the more opinionated, the more feelings towards a club are negative, the tougher it is because the fans follow their heroes on television, and it doesn't help the players at the club. Basically, Eriksen sort of saying that, fans are maybe buying in a lot to what ex-players have to say, and maybe the negative atmosphere among the fan base can possibly go one way or the other, good or bad, depending on maybe what ex-players say. Maybe they have an influence. Maybe it's kind of a snowball effect. I'm not saying Eriksen's blaming the ex-players, but I think it just sounds to me like he feels that maybe their opinion does carry weight, and it could be a contributing factor to kind of the overall negativity, kind of the powder keg that is the United fan base these days. What are your thoughts? Let me check in on that poll real quick and see where you guys are at right now with this. Do you think negativity from ex-United players is a problem? 82% of you say absolutely. 18% of you say no. So it sounds like you guys maybe are buying what he's selling here, that, it's just not helping. Do you guys think, like, in what way do you think that it doesn't help? Do you think that the fans are kind of grabbing onto anything? And do you think, like, professional footballers at United especially, should they be that influenced by some of that stuff? Should they be that influenced by negative opinion in the fan base, negative opinion from ex-players? We've seen a couple of United players recently come out and kind of directly respond to the fact. I know Luke Shaw commented on something that Roy Keane said and stuff. It's not the first time. Bruno has come out and commented on other stuff too. Like, I think Maguire too. Like, the ex-players are very opinionated. And I don't agree with everything they say. It's not about agreeing or not. And so I can see, and I know there's a lot of fans who do bite, who do swallow a lot of that stuff and take it as, well, Kino said this, well, Rio said this, and they're the Champions League winner. They're this, so they know more, so it must be true. It's not about right and wrong, true and false. To me, it is definitely more about opinion and what that very publicized opinion could do. Now, Eriksen, again, seems to think that it could hurt the players that are at the club right now. And it's just a question of whether or not you think that's true, whether or not you think it should, whether or not you think players should just take the criticism even as a challenge or a reminder of, or just a heads up that maybe they're not doing enough. Should they listen to that? Should they listen to Amorim and not bother with what Kino or Rio or anybody like that has to say, or Scholesy or whoever? Again, more often than not, this just raises more questions than answers, and it's fine. It's never a question of think this, think that. It's more of like, what are your thoughts on it? So let me know your thoughts on that. Get involved in that poll, because I was really, really interested about that. The poll is changing a little bit. Some of you now starting to think no. Let's see. Lucky says, it's fine. Hate performance talk, really bad players, but they need to let club rebuild. Yeah, I do think that the ex-players can sometimes completely neglect context. Maybe if that's what you're saying, Lucky, that this isn't a fully built squad. This isn't Fergie. This isn't a team full of Keens and Cantonas and Irwins and Stams and Van der Sars and all this. This isn't that. We're in literally the start of a rebuild right now. And the club itself is not really on stable ground, with half a dozen managers in 12 years, players coming in and out, financial issues, and really embarrassing performances and results throughout the years. Not even just the several couple. We've lost 2 European finals. We've won 1 European final, like, in the last decade. Like, it's not a good look. So I hear all sides. I don't know. Players, I would hope that it's hard to ignore. You're a human being. You can't ignore the stuff, right? Maybe needs to be a boundary with social media. Maybe there needs to be a recognition. Okay, like, maybe I hear what this person's saying. Yes, it's one person, but if this is something that's being said many times, maybe that's a sign for me to I don't know. Players need to, I would think the players can fix up in a lot of ways, but I do think the ex-pros need to maybe add a little context to some of their opinions as well, because I just think that goes missing now and then. But you guys let me know. Let's talk about this match, you guys. Like that video for me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Please share it if you haven't yet done so as well, because we're going to talk video. We're going to talk about everything and anything under the sun. Oops, let me get this off the screen. We're not doing that yet. We'll do that a little later on. So we'll go from there because we got Brentford early tomorrow, and it could go either way, in my opinion. Brentford could be a bit of a banana skin. What makes me a little more hopeful is the fact that they're kind of shit right now. And we kind of said this over the summer where they're losing a lot of good players. Thomas Frank left. They replaced Thomas Frank with a set piece coach. They are 17th in the table right now, Brentford. 18th when it comes to goals conceded per 90. So again, they're shit. They don't get a lot of touches in the opposition box. They're generally not very threatening at all. We really should be beating them. And I'm not saying like, oh, just because it's United, it's Brentford. I mean, just looking at where we're at, looking at what they're at, the way we're performing, like in terms of our stats and whatnot. Yes, you can say our finishing is shit. But again, all that, we should be beating them right now. This is probably the best time for us to play them, which again probably means that we'll drop points. But because they have handed us a couple defeats in recent years, 4-3 last year, 4-0 a couple years ago, but we have beaten them too. But when we've beaten them, we've only typically beaten them by a single goal, and so it's gonna be interesting. We are 11th right now, 7 points, but we are just a couple of points off top four. Problem is our goal differential is shit because we're just not putting away our chances. Despite having some of the best offensive stats in the league right now, we just need to put away our chances. But let's look at Brentford. I got an itch on my throat. It feels like this. It's because of allergies, man. Freaking allergies. So let me get a drink of water real quick, you guys. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you subscribe. Throat is itchy. Always happens in the fall. So it was a bit of a summer for Brentford. After years of speculation that Thomas Frank was maybe due for a step up to a bigger club, he did that. He made the jump to Spurs, and he's appointed their manager after Ange Postecoglou just left after winning the Europa League final. Tried to be nice. He didn't leave. He got sacked. But again, what that meant is that Brentford set-piece coach Keith Andrews made his own step up to become the new manager, which raised some eyebrows, me and myself included. To his credit, Andrews hasn't changed a whole lot, aside from maybe upping the tempo of the aggression, with which Brentford press. He likes to press a little more aggression. He has them sitting very compact off the ball, which again limits the space for the opposition to kind of move that ball through the middle of the pitch. So not something we really have to work out for. Their aim, though, is to be hard to beat, win that ball back quickly with a lot of pressure, and then just quick transition. Again, he's really trying to utilize, though, his big tactic seems to be set pieces and long throw-ins, because apparently those have made a comeback now. I told you, football has kind of orbited back to the 80s, but good news for Brentford is that we're so shit when it comes to defending balls in the box. They could easily nick a goal or two off of cheap set pieces. We've seen that many times over the last couple of years. We are just shit at defending set pieces. Nobody jumps. And when they do jump, it's on the back foot. Nobody closes down the ball, which is just, that fucking does my head in more than anything. I could not care less if somebody doesn't jump necessarily. I care more about the fact that nobody closes down the ball and we just say, okay, have a go, put it in the box. It's shit. No, the keepers are just shit coming off their line too. So bottom of the line shit defending set pieces or balls in the box in general. Good news for us is that they've lost a couple key players as well. Visa and Mbumo obviously are, Mbumo's with us now. Visa went to Newcastle, right? They're struggling to score goals, Brentford. They only average about 39% possession in the league. Again, they're happy to sit, wait for us to make a mistake, press, win the ball back, and pounce. That's basic tactics here. They do have some danger men, though. Kevin Shada is very, very dangerous. Uatara, who they pilfered from Bournemouth over the summer. Seriously, did Bournemouth have any players left? They've lost everybody. Igor Thiago, their striker, he is their top scorer right now, but he doesn't have a ton of goals. But keep an eye out, in my opinion, for Damsgaard. Damsgaard is a very, very dangerous little midfielder. He did well. I think it was in the Euros a couple of years back. Brentford picked him up. He scored last time out after coming back into the side. He can be very dangerous as a creative midfield outlet for them in the center of the park. So we do want to make sure that there's pressure on Damsgaard, because if he's the creator, you want to make sure he doesn't have time to really pick those passes and create. JSN, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Did you have a couple? I only see one chat. It says you have two. Here we go. I see it now. Big up. I want to make sure I get them all here. JSN says ex-players can be opinionated all they want, but it shows that they care about the overall betterment of the club and where they should be being the club. It's not going to change until, to be continued, the culture changes and the Glazers are gone for good. I think the Glazers, once they leave, I think you will see a different. Problem is, the Glazers, they don't really have a whole lot of impact other than they don't really put their own money in. Their biggest impact has just been taking money out and letting that debt accrue for 20 odd years, right? It's up there. It's really up there. I don't see anybody willing to come in, because you got to remember, new owners got to come in and be willing to say, yep, I'll take on that debt. And I don't blame anybody for not wanting to do that. I don't blame anybody for trying to hold off on addressing that wholeheartedly until they figure out a good way to do it that doesn't just involve cutting a check for $1 billion, because I wouldn't want to do that at all. That's like getting married and then finding out your spouse has like, $100,000 in credit card debt or something. And you're like, well, fuck, I don't want to pay for that. That's your credit card debt. Shit, man. Now, I do say Sir Jim knew what he was getting into, so there has to be a better solution to that other than just firing people left and right and cutting lunches. So we've talked about that many, many, many times on the channel over the last year or so. But no, I hear you. I think that for me, I haven't heard a whole lot of like solutions from the ex-players, which I think is probably the only thing that I have an issue with. Is I hear a lot of criticism. I don't hear a lot of solutions other than just play a back four. That doesn't really make a difference. That's not the problem. It's not a back four or anything. Like every manager since Fergie besides Amorim has played a back four, and none of them are here. So it's not a back four issue. But big up JSN. Good to see you getting involved, man. Love to see that. Let's see here. Hold on, let me get this off the screen. Hold on. All right, cool. So with Brentford aiming to press with a lot of that intensity, a lot of that aggression, we need to make sure we move this ball quickly, we move this ball cleanly, which means I want press-resistant players all over the park, especially in midfield. We need to create space. We need to be able to resist that press. Who could that be? I think Brentford closing down the middle of the pitch shouldn't cause us too much trouble because we don't tend to move the ball through the center of the pitch. We tend to go to the midfielders and then out wide. But I do need players who are able to create that time and space for themselves because they're not always going to get it. So I don't necessarily want Ugarte in that situation. I don't know if Casemiro is the best to do it either. But I want to make sure that all the bases are covered. To mix sports metaphors here. Again, I worry about Brentford set pieces. They are well drilled. They can create a lot of confusion. It's not just hoofing in there. There's a lot of movement, especially, that can cause us problems. So we need to be switched on. We need to take initiative. We need to communicate. I need this goalkeeper, whoever plays a net, wink, wink, it should be Senna Lamans, to come off his line and get a big fist to that ball. Plow through everybody. I don't care who it is. You plow through everybody. It's like that final scene in Endgame Avengers when Thanos just starts freaking bombing everything. His own people and the Avengers just come plow through everybody. I don't care. Throw some flying knees out there if you get to. But I am confident, though, in our ability, United's ability, to maintain pressure and attacks in the opposition half. Brentford struggled to defend in those situations. We've shown this season that when we work that ball forward, we can win that first pass out from the opposition and just start the attack all over again. And I like that sustained pressure. We did very, very good job of that against Chelsea. I was very impressed by that. We need to see more of that because we started games well. We've got energy. We've got generally like threatening looking play, but we just need to start scoring our chances. Literally highest XG in the Premier League, and we're just shit right now. Our 10s and our wingbacks, we have everything we need. We can create overloads to overpower and outnumber them in wide areas. We can exploit that space in behind their fullbacks because their wingers do tend to invert. There is some space opportunities there. We just need to move the ball quicker in those situations. Take advantage of it. Stop looking and again, this is what happens when you've got limited time and like one preseason. Is those patterns of play are not quite there yet. And so it's going to take a little time. Let me get caught up on this chat real quick and see how everybody's doing here. Rob says, Ruben Amorim and Nusayr Mazraoui will be out. Yes, there is some team news we're going to touch upon here. I just want to get caught up on the chat. Who else is in? Justin's in the house. Justin, I just saw that you called me, man.
Oh, yeah!
I will call you again later on. Justin gets his own little intro. Big up, Justin. Good to see you again, man. Might be seeing him tomorrow morning. We'll see if I can wake my ass up that early. Rob says, I want to see Harry de Ligt Yoro as the CBs to deal with those long throws. Yeah, it's a good shout. I thought de Ligt did a really good job in that wide center back position against Chelsea. He, to me, showed another level to his game that I don't think I've ever seen from him. Is that ball carrying, that playmaking, that willingness to get up and down the pitch. that is like it's like you already had DeLitt, who was a very, very good defender, and then you just added more to his game. Like, that makes him a danger. But yeah, get your starting 11 in, because I'm going to go through some of this team news, and then we're going to talk about starting 11s. Lucky ones, Xerxes, Kabi, Mainu, big up. Yeah, we got to. I mean, Xerxes is a question mark. We'll see. I'm thinking about it. We will see what happens. I mean, I think my energy is a little too crazy for these other people at like 3 and 5 in the afternoon. I don't know how anyone's going to handle that energy at 7 a.m., but we'll see. Dylan's got stuff going on. He can't make it. But I did ask him. So no Ahmad tomorrow. He is with his family. I guess there was a death in Ahmad's family, so he's been given time to go kind of be with his family. So our prayers and thoughts go out to him and his family. Big up Ahmad. Hope you guys are just united and stay strong in that, and hope everybody's doing well. Amorim, as Rob said, no Mazraoui either. Apparently he picked up a knock. He will not be back until probably the international break. Very, very frustrating, because he was already gone, came back for one match, did very well, and now he's gone again. I don't know what the issue is. If someone does know what Mazraoui's issue is, let me know, but I hope it's not him starting to show some of that injury proneness that we saw before he joined us that made me initially worried about him. Sounds like Dallo could be back, though, which could be good, could be bad. I know there's mixed opinions on Dallo among the fan base. It seems like he was kind of here for the long haul, taking over Victor Lindelof's number in the summer. To me, that usually signifies that someone's probably in the plans. You guys know I'm pretty critical of Dallo's final ball and his just flat-out refusal to close down the opposition when they have the ball around the edge of our box. We've conceded a fair number of goals solely because of Dallo's inability to put pressure on that ball, and it's a problem. When we can't defend well in the box, you have to at least put pressure on that ball, and he just doesn't do that very well. I saw that youngsters Nawashi and Tyler Fletcher have trained with the first team this week as well, but it's probably just to make up numbers in training. When you've got people gone and injured, you just need numbers. It's like goalkeepers. If a goalkeeper's injured, they can't train, you're going to bring up an academy keeper, because you need 3 keepers for warm-ups, especially. So question is, though, again, get your thoughts in the starting 11. Who do you think? Who would you want? Does Xerxes get some minutes? He hasn't really gotten a ton of minutes. Does Dallo come right back into the team? Amorim said he's ready. I don't know what that means. If Mazraoui's out, does that mean Dallo kind of slots right in? No Ahmad either. You'd imagine Dallo's probably going to start, right? Does Mbeumo get some starting minutes against his former club? He's pretty much been playing nonstop. Is it time for him to maybe sit down now that Cunha's back, Mount's back? Could see a bit of rotation. Xerxes, a lot of questions over this one. Is this the game to rotate heavily? You guys know going into this, I said I wouldn't mind seeing 1 or 2 players rotated. Not because I think people are tired, just because I want players like Xerxes, like Mainu, like Lamens. I want them to start getting minutes so they can stay match fit, they can stay fresh, they can not build up the rust. To me, it's not about, oh, these players are tired. It's just, let's rotate. Let's keep everyone match fit. Lucky wants Mbeumo rested. He wants Joshua Xerxes to get some playing time. Yeah, hopefully Xerxes can come on and score. You can get your 9.5 shirt in the United vs. Everybody store, and you can get your Mboom shirt in the United vs. Everybody store if you guys want to celebrate and not give money to the club. Big up, Warzo. Good to see you again. He said, as I have an idea for a very long time now, that the reason for our on-field failures is due to the training facilities. Even with the Carrington refresh, it's still miles behind. I mean, I hope not. I mean, I don't know what the training facilities is going to do that much, honestly. I mean, it's been like this for a while. So I think personally it has a lot to do with recruitment. I think we've signed a lot of really techie players over the years, players that are good ball players, but I don't know if all of them have had the mentality. We've given a lot of them too much money as well, so there's little incentive for any sort of intrinsic motivation, especially, quite frankly, with modern footballers. And I'm not the only one who says this. I sat here in my PFA class about a month ago and listened to Les Ferdinand talk about this for about an hour. It's just modern players they're not as strong mentally anymore. I saw, just like case in point, I saw like, where's their focus? I came across this morning. Currently, Alex Iwobi has a YouTube channel. Apparently, he raps now. I'm like, what the hell? This is the problem. You've got too many of these modern players who are out here trying to rap. Lukaku, Memphis, Alex Iwobi. You've got too many players trying to just come up with their clothing brand. Players who care more about the way they look, not necessarily like appearances, but just by the impression, the way people are perceiving them, that they're quick to be defensive, they're quick to deflect, they're quick to try to control narratives on social media and whatnot, like Sancho or Rashford even, because they can't, like, it's just impossible for this modern generation to take a bit of constructive feedback or even criticism. They just can't do it. And it's a problem. So I think that's a problem too. It's just a horrible time to deal with footballers, but we don't help matters by not signing enough players who are mentality monsters, players who are leaders, players who are intense and have resilience. We have to switch that up. So, but yeah, I can see that it can be hard to convince a lot of the players when they come to United and they see that some of these facilities just haven't been updated in forever. Now, thankfully, Carrington's now updated. The women's team needs to get a little bit of the same treatment, I think, because we're losing a lot of women's players over the years, and I just think the club doesn't care that much. But we definitely don't help matters, Warbs, though. I agree in that regard. Rob says Heaven is hardly had. Yeah, I would probably, in my opinion, if it were me, I would probably start Heaven, rest Shaw a bit, and maybe bring Shaw on the second half. Shaw hasn't looked bad. Actually, looked really, really good against Chelsea. It's Shaw. He's gonna break eventually. So the question is, do you start him, and then if he breaks, you bring on Heaven? Do you start Heaven? I don't want us to bring in Heaven and then not kind of give him some minutes. Same with Xerxes and stuff. So some of these guys need to start getting minutes personally. Warb says, I saw Dogu recently opened a Twitter account. It was like, no. Yeah, I've seen a couple of accounts, a couple of users tell him great. He's just opened himself up for criticism. Yeah, I mean, he just needs to. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's always an interesting dichotomy, right, between players. Should they just be able to have the social media and just be like normal people? Should they recognize that maybe their position opens them up to criticism and abuse? Like, I'm not excusing the criticism. It's like, I'm not saying like, oh, they should just know that that's going to happen. It's not excusable when this shit happens. I'm just saying, like, if you're not mentally strong enough to handle it, is it a wise choice? I don't know. It's a really touchy subject, right? I mean, any way you kind of argue, like, should they do that? Almost, again, it sounds like you're excusing. It's like when they're like women don't wear yoga pants because you know guys are going to look at you. Like, that's like leering and being a lecherous pervert at women is not like, you shouldn't be able to blame. You know what I'm saying? You guys get what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird. It's hard to have that conversation, right? And so social media is just avoid it altogether, man. I'm just not all about it. But like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing a couple players rotated. Not because I think players need a rest. Again, I want to keep everybody fit. Let me know what your starting 11 looks like. Let's see. I don't think Leach is going to be ready for a minute there, buddy. Sorry, Lucky. I think Cobby, he has to start, honestly. But the problem is, it's clear that Ruben Amorim kind of sees Cobby and Bruno playing the same position. So, and it doesn't seem like Bruno is going to play a 10 ever again. So, can Bruno and Cobby start in midfield together? In my opinion, no. Personally, I think that it's a really, it's a touchy situation to be in. I would say I wouldn't hold my breath on Cobby starting unless maybe you shove him in one of the 10 roles, but I just don't think I would see if Amorim's going to come out and say that Cobby's got to show some physicality and aggression, and word on the street is that he's been working with him on that recently. You have to eventually try him alongside Bruno, but I just don't know if it's going to work at the second. But we'll see. Bruno's definitely going to start because he and Mbeumo are among the top chance creators in the Premier League already this season, so you have to take advantage of that. Again, De Ligt showed another level to his game against Chelsea, so that could really be a bonus little perk for us that we didn't really plan on having at our disposal. Just need to do better defending those balls in the box, beating that press, and finishing our dinner, man. It's ridiculous. We just have no ability. It's like our clinical, like, there's been no finishing at this club for years. I don't know what it is with these strikers. They come in and they just forget how to score goals, man. Bomo was one of the best attackers in the Premier League, and he comes on and he just forgets how to score goals. Completely missed a couple sitters. It is what it is, but I'm like, what happens when people join this club, man? I want your score predictions, though. But we're going to do what we did a couple weeks ago, if you guys remember, and we're going to go through all of the matches in the league this year, or in the match week this season, and we're going to predict them together. So we'll do this one at a time, starting with this one. What are your guys' predictions for United Brentford? What do you think score is going to be for this match? Let me know. As we're going to go through all the other ones as well. So bring up FootMob, bring up whatever you want, and Let me know your score predictions. You guys get to pick. And if I win, again, Super Brew is free to play. It goes by predictions for the score only. If you get a bunch right, you win stuff. If you get all of them right, you win a lot of money. If you guys help me and we get all of them right, I will hook you guys up. I'll do some major hookups. So let me know your predictions for United Brentford. I'm going to go skip ahead to Chelsea Brighton, and I'm going to predict that it is going to be, we'll call that 2. I'll go 2-2 for Brighton Chelsea. What do you guys think for this United versus Brentford match? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, or else I'm going to keep going because I'm going to let you guys pick them. But if nobody picks, I'm just going to keep going. So let me know. First one to get into prediction gets it. Let me see here. Liverpool Palace. It's at Palace. That can be interesting. Little shout here. Palace not doing too great, but they're not doing bad. I'm gonna say 2-1 Liverpool for that one. We'll see. Rob is going 3-1 United. That was actually my pick too, Rob. My prediction was going to be 3-1. I mean, it's got to click at some point, right? We're playing well. It's just been that individual decision, that final ball, little errors here and there. But I was going to go 3-1. So what else we got here? Rob's going to draw. Some people are saying draw for Palace. I think Liverpool could edge it. Why don't you guys let me know this? Leeds versus Bournemouth. What do you think that could look like? Let me see here. Yeah, you see the two on the screen now. What do you think is going to happen here? I want to see what you guys have to say. Let me get this other guy off the screen here. Lucky says, Manchester United, please put pressure on balls. Have 2 players. Yeah, we need to do better, dude, for real. What do you got? What does Rob have to say here? Rob's going 2-0 Bournemouth. Yeah, Leeds are doing all right. I don't think that any of the newly promoted teams are going to go down for sure, but it is Leeds at the end of the day. I'm surprised Bournemouth have picked themselves back up a little bit. What about City Burnley at the Etihad? Pep struggling a little bit, and you got that little draw against Arsenal. Obviously, they beat us, but it's not hard to do right now. But Burnley are struggling after spending a bit of money. Sunderland have spent a bit of money as well. Let me know what you think. City Burnley, Forest Sunderland. What are you guys calling for that one? This is fully interactive. Rob's going 3-0 City. I will throw it in there, Rob. Rob's about to get all the prizes. He's the only one jumping in so far. Forest Sunderland. What are we thinking here? And then we got Spurs Wolves on deck. Wolves are absolute shit right now. I'm talking like absolute shit, man. Wolves might feature heavily in my January deal video because you want to poach these players from these struggling clubs. Rob's going 1-1 with Forest and Sunderland. I will put it in there. Let's see what we got here. And then we've got Villa, Fulham. So what are we looking? Spurs, Wolves. You got to think that's got to have Spurs written all over it. Rob's going 3-0 Spurs. Rob, I'm just let you pick them all, bud. You let me know. Villa, Fulham. Villa are also a team that's struggling. Now, there is a midfielder at Villa that I absolutely got my eye on for years. Even when he was at Marseille, Villa picked him up on a free transfer. Hint, hint, wink, week. Lucky's, I don't know what that score is for, Lucky. He's going 3-2. Lucky thinks it's going to be a closer game. The Brentford are just struggling to score, so I just can't see them scoring along. Rob's got all day. He's going 1-1. How many of those 1-1s have you called so far, Rob? 1-1. All right. Newcastle, Arsenal. This could be an interesting one. Newcastle are not doing great. Obviously, Arsenal are a bit up and down, but it's at Newcastle. Newcastle they lost their best player. They got a couple more attackers. I think they got that Woltemade guy as well. And so, yet I haven't watched any Newcastle matches, so I'm not sure like how any of these players are even getting on, if they've even gotten minutes yet. You guys can let me know if they have. So we got Newcastle, Arsenal, we're looking at now, and then we got Everton, West Ham on deck. What do you guys think for these guys? Rob's going 2-2. Rob just wants draws everywhere. Is that wishful thinking? Is there any sort of empirical backing behind that, Rob? Everton, West Ham, dude. If West Ham lose another one and Graham Potter's gone, like that's in. Who could come in? I read somewhere Slaven Bilic could come back to West Ham if Graham Potter's sacked. If Graham Potter's sacked, dude, that's got to be embarrassing. Rob's going 2-1. All right, we're locking him in. 2-1 West Ham. All right. We're going to lock it in, and then we will see what happens. All right, 10 out of 10. Picks made. There it is. You should jump on Super Brew if you guys can do it. I don't typically do fantasy, so Super Brew is about the closest I get. And as you can see, it's not even really fantasy at all. You're just predicting scores. But if you get enough of them right, you do win some stuff. I was one shy a couple years back of getting a free shirt, but you have to get like 5 or 6 correct, like exactly. And so I think I got like 5. I needed 6. So, but if you get all 10 right, you get a big chunk of change. So, but that's it. Let me wrap it up here. So again, a win tomorrow would put us on 10 points, potentially shoot us up the table to top 4 even if other results go our way. I think Bournemouth are 4th with 10 points. If we score a bucket load of goals and Bournemouth lose and don't score anything, we could theoretically be in top 4. And obviously all the other results have to go our way too. So, and you guys know I don't like relying on that. But when was the last time we were anywhere near top 4? I mean, it's been a minute. So despite being just 1 point behind Chelsea, we're on the same points, I think, as City, perhaps, maybe just one off. 3 points off top. Apparently we're in crisis. We're not in crisis. Just too early in the season for anybody to be in crisis unless you're Wolves, basically. And we've already played Arsenal, we've already played City, and we've already played Chelsea now too. Just Liverpool really to kind of get over in terms of that hump. And you can maybe argue like Newcastle or Spurs, but we really need to get over that hump. And that would get us through statistically what has been the toughest start to a season for any of the Premier League clubs right now. So, but we can't afford to take our foot off the gas. Just like a slow, unremarkable transfer windows, we can't afford to fall behind. So these attackers really need to start putting away their chances. Highest XG, we've got like an over 10 something XG, but we've just got 6 goals. It's just not good enough. Literally the worst right now for any of Europe clubs in Europe's top 5 leagues when it comes to those missed chances, the underperforming the XG. We are the worst. We need to start scoring the goals. Like our GD has been shit for a couple of years, and again, poor finishing over the years is killing us. I did say earlier I think it will click. I need it to click right now. Let's hope it clicks tomorrow morning. The under 18s, the under 21s all have matches. I think the under 18s kick off at like 6 a.m. and then the under 21s kick off at like 9. So honestly, like that, I don't know who scheduled that, but that was some shit scheduling. So get that picture-in-picture going. If you're like Bill and get the 2 TVs next to each other, get that going too. Throw on MUTV and watch a couple of the youngsters play. But we predicted 3-1. I'm sticking with my 3-1. You guys picked a couple of the other games, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the youngsters out on loan, what Christian Eriksen had to say about ex-players potentially kind of creating problems for current squad because of their public negativity and criticism. Let me know what you think about some of these new signings that we've been looking at, and one that we've officially got over the line in Christian Orozco. And then let me know your thoughts on the match, what you think the starting 11 looked like, what you think the score could look like. You guys know I check those comments, so don't be afraid to leave one. While you're doing that, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share as well. Check out those memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the channel as well. It's not just emojis and badges. There's so much more. And then, yeah, just check out the United vs. Everybody store. Tons of new stuff. Go celebrate some of these goals. Get yourself an Mboom shirt, a 9.5 shirt. Get yourself the and Solskjaer has a Won It shirt, which just came out recently. But until tomorrow, you guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday, whatever you end up doing. And I will see you guys on the next one, hopefully talking about 3 points in our match reaction video. So take it easy, guys. Thank you for stopping by, getting involved. A pleasure as always. And I will see you guys later. Peace.